No country has ever prospered that failed to put its own interests first. We will no longer surrender this country or its people to the false song of globalism.
New Right Network presents Right Now, the featured podcast of New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
I'm Mary Magaline for New Right Network. Today I'm talking to Shellie Woods. Her brother Steve Woods died on the 9th of November of 1993 at age 17. On October 15th, he was attacked by a juvenile Mexican illegals that drove a paint roller into his skull from temple to temple at Calafia Beach, South San Clemente, California, after a football game went awry. It's his birthday today, Shellie.
Yes, he would be 43 today, which makes me wonder who he'd be. So, yeah. I think that he would have been very successful. He had a lot of dreams. He had dreams that got smashed, unlike the other dreamers, his were smashed, permanently separated.
Yeah. Do us a favor, just walk us through real quick. What happened that night?
Okay. All right. Well, as you stated, October 15th, 1993, Steve and his friends from school after the football game, went down to the beach, as they did, and had bonfires. They lived on the beach. And one of the boys went to leave to take one of the kids' homes that had a curfew. He got up to the top of the hill, met up with the gang members that were driving in with their vehicles, and it was a one-way in and one-way out. Well, they jumped out of their truck, socked him first. He ran back down and warned the other kids that there was trouble above. So the kids proceeded to jump in their vehicles, and my brother was with 8 other friends that were mixed races. Let's just throw that in there because it became a racial thing in the end. So my brother was in the first vehicle, a Suburban with 6 kids. He actually was, his friend Christy, which was 14, and the reason I'm going to bring that up is I hope I get a chance to say she killed herself a couple of years ago over this. So he pushed her in the middle. So that paint roller she had always thought was meant for her. So while they were going up the hill, they were all ducked down because once they stopped, they had to stop because the people were throwing full beer cans. An 8-pound log went in through the back window that hit somebody in the head. They threw rocks. They were taking metal bars, and thrashing all the windows in. And then, of course, the kids are all going to be ducked. Who's going to be sitting up while everything's being bashed in? The driver was trying to drive, ducked down. So as my brother was sitting down, then somebody else reached in and plunged a paint roller rod through his head, temple to temple. And so once the other kids saw that they just got through it, and then they saw my brother, and then they raced up to the hospital, the emergency room where therefore it took place. Now, my brother wasn't in a coma. That most people would take a look at that x-ray and think he couldn't have survived that. He was actually trapped in his body for nearly a month. And during that month, the doctors had come in while we were in the room and wanted to take him off of life support, was asking us about that. And all of a sudden we noticed all his vitals went crazy. Therefore, we knew he could understand every single word that had been said in that room. So we went outside and talked about everything. We didn't take him off. So he lasted, nearly a whole month being trapped in his body until he succumbed to it. So it was horrific. So you have that situation in there, knowing that you can't communicate other than with one muscle in your leg, yes or no questions, that we provided. So that's pretty much the whole story in a nutshell. Well, then the trials, so we had 9 that were a part of that. 6 were convicted. The other 3 weren't convicted because the Miranda rights or something weren't said right, and they were let off the hook. So out of those 6, Now you have to realize there was an attack on 9 kids. So that's 9 offenses. You have second-degree murder in there. You have felony after felony, attempted murder. And I think it should have been first-degree murder because it was lying in wait. Now, they were high-fiving after their whole thing on the top of the hill, by the way. So they are very proud of what they did. So while we were in the trials and everything, a couple of them, just no respect whatsoever. I got the F-bomb thrown at me in the middle of one of the trials. That's the kind of thing that was going on during this. Now we've had 4 released out of the 6. Some of them had very, very short few-year terms. One was released a few years ago. Now the one I'm going to bring up right now, he was he had another parole hearing December of 15. They denied it. He laughs at the picture, that X-ray. I don't know if you can hold up that picture. I don't know if you have, but I have it here. I'm going to actually.
Now you were talking about the person that you were talking about. Please, yes, do show that picture.
Okay.
You are talking about Rogelio Vasquez Solis, correct?
Yes, I am. He laughs at this. Can you laugh at this? I mean, anybody that's normal couldn't laugh at something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And the DAs because we don't go out there. I don't fly out there at this point because we do everything conference. And the DAs are my eyes. And every single parole hearing he's ever had, every DA has said the same thing. This one is proud of what he did. He grins from ear to ear. He can't contain himself. He just has to, he's proud of it. He has threatened to murder my mother and I umpteen times. That doesn't seem to matter in California.
So, and that was one of the questions we were going to ask. Are you being targeted right now by or at all by Mexican gangs because of this? Are you anybody besides him? Is he sending people after you?
No, he actually was caught with cell phones twice. He managed to pay approximately $800 to have cell phones smuggled in each time. So that's $1,600, yet the system is paying for his prison and his, help. Anyways, but no, as far as I know, not, but he has made it very quite clear. And his family still lives in the vicinity of my mother. I live in Montana. I moved. I used to live on the border of California and Nevada, in the Sierra Nevadas, for pretty much after this happened to my brother. I left. And then, anyways, so my mother's still down there. His family is still down there. And so is many of the other, as far as I know, all the families are still in that location towards my mother down in Orange County. One of these had called my mother. One of the mothers called my mother after her son, they separated them because they're a gang. One was put in the Northern California jail and called my mother and asked her if she could help get her son closer to her because she was having trouble visiting him. Who does that? Because she just had her 15th child. And every single one of them were on the system. Every single one was on welfare with all their children, and everybody was legal, parents too.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and it clearly states, and just to get off the thing, if you're illegal, it states in, food stamp paperwork or whatnot, that even if you are not a citizen, you're eligible for emergency services. So they're very well taken care of when they come over here. But actually, I did want to point out something. Back in the middle 90s, all the way up until Trump started announcing his running for president, I wonder how many more people out there that had family members, anything that were murdered by illegal aliens. Because I will tell you something, that X-ray that I just pointed out, they had no problem. All media had no problem plastering that all over the media, that it was never attached with the word illegal. Or now after it's been exposed, now illegal is never attached with that X-ray. And I have the answer for that, because that X-ray and the word illegals is too powerful. It says too much. You can't twist it. You can't lie about it. You can't turn it into fake news. They are the fact. You can't change it. So I am waiting to see if that X-ray and the word illegals come out together next to each other, because I've never seen it yet. I'm starting to see it, but all the way up until President Trump started running, it was not attached in any way. So I just thought that was quite interesting. So it makes me wonder how many other families out there that have not been noticed because it's been swept under the rug. And so how many more are out there since before President Trump, because it's just a hush hush thing.
So did your family ever hear from any of your legislators at all?
No. President Trump was the only one that listened to us. That's it.
Since 1993.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I will say this, though. There was a group that formed Proposition 187 in California, and they were going to name it after my brother at one point, and it was basically about illegal aliens. I don't really remember the exact situations about it. I was a lot younger. And, and this was all coming about. It passed. People did not want the illegal alien status, but so it basically is kind of carried on from there now. But this is what was trying to be. It was people were trying to start it back then, to take note of what's happening, what's taking place now. They predicted. So, anyway,
right.
But that was the only, I guess, political type thing that ever came about it.
So which news agencies covered it? I'm telling you, when I went to do the research for this article, I didn't find very much.
You have to do certain keywords. There is a lot. Every single newspaper, everything. It was even on CNN. It was on Fox News. We were on talk shows, 2020, all kinds of everything. So it's out there. You just have to really search it. There is a left paper that did a real big twist on it a few times, like twisted it total opposite from the truth. And that was, I won't even announce the name because I'm not giving them any airtime. So, So it's out there quite a bit. We have a documentary called Lost Future, Steve Woods' Lost Future. It won an Emmy in Los Angeles.
Wow.
In 1997. And it was done by Meridian Pictures, and it's on YouTube. You just Google Lost Future. It's a 30-minute documentary that won an Emmy. So, and it basically reenacted that night, and it has pictures of the crime scene, of the things that were laid around, right, all that, and the vehicle, what it looked like. So what is it? What would you like for your fellow Americans to do to help? How can we help you? How can we gain justice for you and other angel families? What can we do to help? Well, to be honest with you, I really feel like everybody needs to step forward like we are doing. It has to. People like Pelosi and everything like that, I don't understand. We need a wall. This DACA amnesty, I think the amnesty thing, we're amnestied out. It should be over. We are losing ground here. And I feel that, our legislators, everybody, they should be looking out for us, not the other side. And I really just feel that everybody banding together and listening to our stories, putting it out there, making laws. We should be making laws that, our laws that are in place, it's federal. It's a federal law. You commit a crime. Apparently, if these two, you hear over and over again, repeat offenders that have repeated crimes, they should have been locked up after release if they were found in the United States again. It used to be, and it's a law, that they go to federal prison. There isn't this, you get to go back over the border. When you hear people coming over 15 times, everybody's blocked. I honestly don't know the answer. I just know the system is so broken, and we're on that cusp of, the fake news is destroying this country. And the federal prison needs to be really there. They need to just be locked up, not come back to do it again. Right. So I wanted to get your reaction. After all this is a quote that I read from your story that I had a reaction to. I want to see what your reaction to it is after all these years. It's Superior Court Judge Everett Dickey said, "I can't bring Stephen Woods back. Nonetheless, these young men are not predators. They are not criminally sophisticated, and there's nothing to suggest they're firmly entrenched in the gang lifestyle." How did that hit you? How does it hit you now? We absolutely think it's absurd. And I will tell you a little story about Mr. Dickey. Okay, he, from what I remember, he was unappointed. And the community, I didn't understand. We were thrown into this. You understand that we couldn't even think at this point. The community took over. Orange County took over. They set up stands at every supermarket, every possible venue that they could set up at to get signatures to have him removed. Well, I think the heat was on so much, he ended up retiring. He just bailed out. He couldn't go anywhere without seeing this because they were tried as adults, and they were the whole trial on this dual trial. They were trying, and this one of these right now, the guy that we're talking about, was in that. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. It was one of the other two. I get mixed up sometimes. But Judge Dickey receives them and reverses the adults. You know, they were tried as adults. They are now going for sentencing. He actually reversed it and said, you know, one of these came from a family that just had their 15th child. That same family I was talking about. Now, then he says he put them in a juvenile facility. They were over 18, you know. So they, like I said, a few years, those two were out, and the community was an uproar over it. I will tell you that. It was just, they went crazy. I mean, there was banners everywhere, over freeways, over everything. It was just take back our community. It was insane those years.
So in closing, I really must close this out. But my question to you right now in closing, do they know where these guys are?
No. Who can say where they are? We've heard over and over again, they come back. But these two that are left, they're the ones the community has to look out for as well as us. It's not just us they're after. This one is insane. He's going to come after whoever he can. So that's just, he's a threat to society, not just to me or my mother.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.